Welcome to the worst of the best podcast. You wanted the best. Well, they didn't freaking make it! So here's what you get. From Canada, Ryan and
Jason. Hello and good day and good evening and good afternoon to everyone listening. This is another episode of the Worst of the Best podcast. I'm your host, Ryan, and with me for the third time in a row, this is a good streak we got going on, Jason. My brother, Jason, welcome.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate doing these with you.
Yeah, this is fun. At the time of this recording, this will be a little bit behind the curtain too much. We try to bank some episodes, so it's, a lot of shows do that. We record when we can, so sometimes we have blocks of time available to do more recordings in some other times in our life. So the time of this recording, this episode may not be released. This could be a lost episode if the alien invaders take over the world. Well, if the alien overlords, please grant us. We bow to you. Do what you got to do, and let our show continue. Maybe give us some numbers. Give us a boost. Use your powers to advertise our show on your various platforms that you'll take over. All right, Jay, I'm excited for this episode because 2 episodes ago, where we were talking about coincidences, things that were astronomical type historical coincidences. We talked about a certain actor who died in real life, and that same day, his character that he portrayed on a television show, that character that he portrayed died the same day he died in real life. So I thought to myself, there must be other incidences like this within the TV and film land, where characters of TV shows and movies, particularly franchise movies, the character is inexplicably or oddly leaves the show, but the actor's still alive. So all of this list, the actors, when they left this show, they were still alive. So unlike that person we talked about, these aren't deaths of the actors. That actually does happen in real life, where actors will die and their character obviously can't continue on the TV show. The other guy was just interested that both his character and the person died. And I think it's the only incident that's ever happened on the same day. So these are stories behind TV and film actor exits. Some of these names people might be familiar with, some of them they might not be, but at the very least, you've either heard of the show, the movie, or the actor's name, or both. But I think all the stories are kind of interesting and or funny or odd. For a worst pick, there's 2 ways we could do this. The worst way to exit, really, you left the show because of that thing, whether it was behavior, whatever it might be, or you could argue that's why they left the show. 2 things, like the person's behavior could have been the worst thing, or the company or the movie company or the TV company, their reasons were the worst reasons. Like their behavior wasn't as bad as
the punishment didn't fit the crime.
Whether it's creative differences, personal clashes, or controversies that spilled into the public eye, these moments remind us that what happens off camera can be just as dramatic as what happens on screen. From sudden character deaths to bizarre exits that left fans scratching their heads, we'll explore, Jason, the stories behind these unexpected departures and the ripple effects they had on the beloved series. Jay, you ever watched the show Cheers?
I've seen a couple.
Yeah, of course.
Back in the day.
I remember we watched this when we were young, and we were raised in a very conservative home. There was no alcohol in the home. And I remember watching the show as a young lad. I almost feel guilty watching a show based in a bar, right? The whole purpose of this bar is Norm grabs his beer, everyone's drinking beer. It's based in, even though the show wasn't about beer, it's just the relations of the characters, and the bar was the hub. It's just where
the bar was the office.
Exactly.
It was the hospital, the setting that all these interactions occurred. It's funny. That didn't ever cross my mind, to be honest.
No, it's interesting that didn't cross your mind. I actually find that.
If it did, I don't recall it.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I just remember this feeling of almost taboo. It's a show about drinking.
Right.
But that being said, I saw many episodes. I actually quite enjoyed the show. There was an actor, Jay, named Jay Thomas. You, probably some of our listeners, don't remember this person by name, but if I were to show you his face, you'd recognize him as an actor, specifically on Cheers. He went on to play a recurring character on Murphy Brown as well. Played Eddie LeBeck. He was a hockey player and soon to be the husband of Carla, played by Rhea Perlman on Cheers. So that was his role. So if you saw him, be like, oh yeah, Carla's boyfriend. You'd recognize him if you saw him.
Yeah, I think I can visualize it in my mind.
I don't know if you remember this, but his character in the show met an unexpected end in a bizarre fashion. A Zamboni accident. It was during season 8. Because he was a hockey player. That was his character. So he was actually a goalie, I believe, for the Boston Bruins. That was his character. So he got run over by a Zamboni. So his character died. got run over by Zamboni. Now, the reason his character died was Thomas was a radio DJ host, by the way. So he did disc jockey work. So he was kind of like very successful in his own area. So he did TV show work and he also moonlighted as disc jockey.
So a side hustle.
Yeah. He made an offhand comment on his radio show. A caller called in. The question was something like, what's it like to work with Rhea Perlman, or what's it like being her boyfriend? And he said it was brutal to kiss her. Well, we all know what Rhea Perlman looks like. She's no Shelley Long or Kirstie Alley. Even when I was young and, I'm looking at Kirstie Alley and Shelley Long, gorgeous woman at the time. And yeah, Rhea Perlman was kind of like Yeah,
I get it.
So he said that, though. He said it out loud. So he said that, and he was trying to be glib and funny, but Rhea Perlman, of course, happened to be listening to his show at that time. Like she was listening to the radio when he said that. Well, needless to say, his characters was killed because Rhea went to the creator saying, I can't work with this guy anymore. Before they killed off his character, they turned his character into a jerk. They made him kind of unlikable before they killed him off.
Right.
It turned out he was a polygamist.
What?
Yes, that's what they did to his character, that he was not religiously speaking, but he had more than one family. So he was Carla was wife number 2 or 3, that he had families in 3 different parts of town or the world or whatever. So she found out about that. Then he gets killed by the Zamboni. So that's why audiences were like, he was a dick.
I'm looking him up just so I can refresh my mind as to the dude.
And he is dead now too, by the way.
He died at 69.
Yeah.
From sadly cancer.
Yeah. Not a Zamboni?
No, not a Zamboni.
All right, Jay, you got the next one. John Rice Davies. Right. Remember Indiana Jones? He was that kind of chubby guy that grabs the date from falling into Indy's mouth that the monkey had poisoned. And he played Gimli in Lord of the Rings. He was the dwarf Gimli in Lord of the Rings.
John Rice Davies starred as Professor Maximilian Arturo in Sliders, but his character was killed off in season 3. Rice Davies later admitted that constant clashes with the writers over what he called incomprehensible gibberish scripts led to his departure. Tensions on the set made staying untenable, and his character sacrificed himself in a 2-part episode. While it wasn't clear whether he quit or was fired, Davies left Sliders frustrated with his missed potential.
I kind of see what he's saying. I think he probably has a theater background. He probably comes from that type of, just even the way he speaks and enunciates words, even like how he was with Gimli in Lord of the Rings. You can tell he's an actor's actor. He's like a Patrick Stewart type actor. I think Patrick Stewart did the same type of thing. In fact, that's actually a great example. Sliders is a sci-fi show, by the way. So that incomprehensible gibberish, I believe Patrick Stewart did the same thing regarding Star Trek. He thought it was like, what am I doing here? Talking about replicators and set phasers on stun.
Because it feels like beneath them.
Yeah, it feels a little bit beneath them.
Yeah.
He grew to love it, especially when the paychecks, come in. But Patrick Stewart and John Rice Davies, I think, probably come from the same background of Shakespearean type acting. But unlike Patrick saw it through for many films and TV shows and episodes. John Rice fought with the scriptwriters, saying, like, this is just incomprehensible gibberish. And of course, tensions are going to be on the set where like the writer's like, dude, we're writing a sci-fi show. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Just say the line. It doesn't have to make sense to you. The audience is enjoying the gibberish. This isn't real life. This is a sci-fi show.
Right. You're overthinking
it. There is no phasers to see.
We're acting.
Yes.
This is all acting. This is not a representation of you as a person. You're playing a character, and the character has incomprehensible gibberish as part of their script.
You know who else did the same thing? It's funny. Another English Shakespearean type actor, Al Guinness for Obi-Wan Kenobi. He thought it was horrible. Thought what he was doing was stupid. He made no bones about it. Like he was almost angry that he had no. I don't understand these people. You did read the script before you took the bill.
Right, I don't.
I don't understand. Anyways, we don't get that very much anymore. It is this older generation of type of Shakespearean theater type actors who. Nowadays, people like from Robert Downey Jr., of course, doing Iron Man. Now everyone's like, oh, I see where the money is. Yes, embrace the geek because they control the box office. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Next, of course, you've heard of this actress and the TV show Roseanne Barr was on the TV show Roseanne. Did you ever watch Roseanne growing up?
No.
It never grabbed me. I think I'd probably enjoy it. Like if you were to not force me, but if you say, okay, Ryan, you are going to sit down now, watch one episode a day for the next till the series is over, I'd probably end up enjoying. I bet you it's probably good writing, interesting dynamics with the family. Like I know enough about it. It's a working class mom. I know this show jumped the shark a little bit. Apparently, when they won the lottery at the end of the series. I don't know if you heard about that. Like, they actually won the lottery.
I really don't know what the show's about at all.
Well, of course, I had John Goodman in it.
It was huge, wasn't it?
It was huge. It was Bill Cosby,
Yeah.
the Cosby Show huge.
Yeah.
So it was like the antithesis of the Cosby Show. Because Bill Cosby was educated, refined.
He's a good actor.
Yeah, he's a great actor. He had everybody fooled.
Yeah.
Actually, funny enough, there was even rumors and rumblings back then, but people were quiet about it because of who he was.
Of course they were. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't behave that way and nobody not know. Yeah. And that's the problem with the Hollywood thing.
That's why the Me Too movement came out. That's what gave people the power and the bravery to say, you know what? Enough of this.
Enough is this,
yeah. There was a revival, if you recall. The Roseanne show came back in 2018. And again, it was an instant hit. People were like clamoring for more Roseanne. Now, Roseanne Barr, though, she tweeted a insult at Valerie Jarrett, a former Obama advisor. Do you recall the tweet?
I don't.
Yeah, I won't repeat it. People Google what the tweet was in the context. Roseanne, she did say she was trying to be like, her defense was something. Again, you can Google her own defense. It's all public. So she did have her own defense. You can Google that too, the back and forth between the tweet and Roseanne's defense. But ABC, of course, quickly fired Barr and canceled the show, which is unfortunate to some degree, of course, when bad behavior affects, of course, people's livelihoods. You think, but there's everyone from people that work behind the scenes, even just to the catering company who brings food for the set. Like, they lose that contract or whatever. Like, the show's canceled because of one person's behavior. Of course, ABC knew, look, this is a money-making machine. Like, we don't have to just have Roseanne. We have the rest. We have John Goodman. We have the other actors. So they continued the show without her. And the network rebranded the series as The Connors, killing off Roseanne, the character Roseanne Connor, with opioid overdose in the premiere of that rebranded series. So showrunner Bruce Helfer said the decision aimed to reflect real life issues, but Barr criticized the grim nature of her character's end.
To reflect real life issues, like in the community or her as a person. Did her character have drug issues? It just kind of came up, in the background. No, we never talked about her drug issues in the show, but all of a sudden she's dying of a drug. Yeah, interesting.
Because I didn't watch the show, I don't know if the character Roseanne did drugs. In Forbes magazine, the headline says ABC's The Connor spotlights drug addiction issues with the death of Roseanne Barr's character.
The opioid crisis within America, not just her.
Right.
As an individual.
So it says here, opioid addiction and overdose deaths are rampant in this country. The issue has been in the headlines of every major news outlet. The stats are astounding. Every day, more than 115 people in the States die after overdosing on opioids. In the series premiere, the family is finding out and dealing with the fact that they missed the signs that could have saved Roseanne. Pills are found hidden all over the house, and one bottle has been prescribed to neighbor Marcy. In an emotional scene between her and Dan, played by John Goodman, she tells him that many in the neighborhood share medication with one another due to the lack of health care and financial burdens. So the real life issues is regarding what's happening within the country. They address that real life issue using the character Roseanne to address the issue of opioid abuse. So a message was given to the country while they killed off Roseanne. All right.
It's a comedy, right?
It's a comedy, but Roseanne, as much as I know about it, it is a comedy, but it always had drama. Okay. They always had that type of drama stuff in it as well. Like,
I'd be curious to see how they would all of a sudden, within one episode, they have her as an addict to these pills and then dies from it. But there's no sign of it in the previous however many seasons.
You're right. That's called a retcon. That's exactly what a retcon is.
Recreating the past?
Yeah, retcon is we've added something new right now. Like, we've added this new plot device right now that changes the whole everything we knew about the character in the past. Oh, here's a good example of a retcon. For example, when the Harry Potter series had finished, like when the books were written, when they were all done and published, J.K. Rowling just announced Dumbledore was gay.
Okay.
Like, we read the whole series, read the whole books, but then people started going back, rereading the series, like, oh, I see the signs. Maybe she always wrote them that way, but people thought it might have been a publicity stunt or whatever, or just or the argument is nothing does change because what? He's gay. Why does his character change? Why does it matter? So it's a bit of a stunt that way too. That's what a retcon is I've announced something about this character and all of a sudden that person or that thing was that way the whole time. You just didn't know it. You got the next one. Now, I know you haven't heard this actor before, but you definitely have heard of the series.
Tank, played by Marcus Chong, survived the first Matrix movie, but was written out before The Matrix Reloaded. After negotiations to reprise his role fell apart, Chong reportedly demanded $1 million or offered to return for free, relations soured. Chong later threatened the Wachowskis, resulting in his arrest, and unsuccessfully sued Warner Brothers and the filmmakers. His character's death was mentioned in passing, and Tank disappeared from the franchise entirely.
Yeah. People who know The Matrix will know the character Tank. Just one of those side characters that worked with Neo, played by Keanu Reeves. And he's one of those guys that worked on the whatever that ship was called. I'm not a nerd about the Matrix films. They're fun. I've seen them.
No, either am I.
So this actor thought he was worth more than he was. It's one of these situations where he's like, hey, I was part of that original crew. He was offered $250,000 just to come back for the second film. So that was his offer. Like, hey, nobody knows Marcus Chong. I don't even think how many people could name the actor's name, Marcus, even after seeing that film. They knew Lawrence Fishburne. They knew, of course, Keanu Reeves. Marcus Chong basically felt like, hey, I'm one of the group too. I'm worth more than this. So they're like, hey, we're going to give you $250,000. Come on back. So he basically turned around and counter-offered and said, no, give me $1 million or just have me come back for free. It's one or the other.
It's like all or nothing.
All or nothing. Or say we'll give you nothing, but either way, I'm coming back, right? With $1 million.
Oh, yeah. Like he's like basically trying to force their hands.
Right. Now, of course, those relations soured. You're strong arming us, which is never a good idea to strong arm the people that are paying you, unless you really are.
You're biting the hand that feeds.
Keanu Reeves could probably do something to that effect because he's Neo, but they offered him probably another $20 million. But the point is, what are you negotiating? People don't care about Tank. He bit off more than he could chew. Later on, he did threaten the brothers at the time. They've both have transitioned since. At the time, he threatened them with like emails and voice messages, like harassing, like, I'm going to get you, I'm going to hurt you type, like real threats.
Wow.
So he did get arrested for that. He sued Warner Brothers, didn't work, and the filmmakers didn't work. Basically, not only destroying, you would think it would be better to take the $250,000, that, and then he lost chance to work with other people because why would you sign this trouble for the company?
Yeah, so I'm looking at his filmography.
Since then?
Yeah, so his last movie, it appears, was 2013. 2 episodes of Law and Order. That's the biggest name. Everything else I don't recognize. Apparently he has one upcoming thing.
Yeah, he buried himself.
How much money did he cost himself in trying to sue Warner Brothers? And then probably after he got arrested, those sort of things, he had to pay for lawyers and everything else. Yeah, he would have done better if he did do the role for free, but willingly.
Yeah, he buried himself. He was an up-and-coming actor. Like, if you look at his pre-Matrix roles, he had very busy work, up-and-coming. And then, you're right, he shot himself in the foot because the word gets around the industry very quickly. It's a small group, right?
Well, you can't get arrested for threatening people who are in the industry.
Yeah, because there's casting directors, right? People that cast. This name comes up, they see, oh, this guy. No, like, why do we want him?
Yeah, why do we want the problem child on our set?
No. All right. Charlie Sheen is another big name. Charlie Sheen playing Charlie Harper on 2.5 Men. I'm sure you're familiar with the comedy show, Jay, and the actor Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
I never watched the show. I've seen the bits and pieces to know enough. Yeah, just look, Charlie sleep with another woman, and look, the kid's saying something adult.
Oh, yeah, it was so.
His brother or whatever, played by the other guy, he's the bumbling nerdy idiot who can't get the hot girls, even though he's a better person than Charlie. And then they have that housekeeper who's big and sassy and doesn't take no crap from anybody. Am I getting it? Is that?
Yeah. I mean, I never sat and watched. I don't think I've seen a full one, but I mean, he just walked in. I would suspect he's on set for 15 minutes a day. Oh. He would walk in, say his lines, and then leave. He walks in. He doesn't have to act. He just says his lines. I'm Charlie Sheen pretending to be something else. Say his lines, and then leave.
Yeah, he's not even.
Like he's not even trying.
It's just
it's Charlie Sheen.
He likes women and being under the influence of something. What a character.
Yeah, like.
I wish I could play myself. It'd be very easy. I mean, I'm boring. It wouldn't be funny, but just to be able to come on set and just be yourself and walk off set.
He probably pulled up in his car, walked out, walked onto the set, would say his 2 or 3 lines, and then he would just leave.
You bounce. Yeah. All right. So what happened is people are wanting to know. All right. So Charlie Sheen's erratic behavior, as we've talked about, and public tirades against 2.5 Men creator Chuck Lorre led to his firing in 2011. So he literally was biting the hand that was feeding him, getting millions of dollars just to be himself, Jay. But he found a reason.
I believe he was the highest paid actor. I mean, that was it
was a lot.
He was making a lot.
If it wasn't $1 million an episode, it was something like that. Do you know how his character was handled on the show? Because they continued the show without him with Ashton Kutcher after for a few seasons. So the show killed off Charlie Harper J in a ridiculous way. A grand piano dropped on him from a helicopter. Sheen's firing followed years of drug abuse, controversies, and now an infamous media meltdown. Remember the Tiger Juice winning?
Yeah, I remember. I saw more of that than I did of the show.
Oh, sure. Harper's demise, played by Charlie Sheen, marked the end of Charlie's time on the sitcom. So there you go. He might be Charlie Sheen. He might be the star of the show. But guess what? Charlie is a lesson that even when you're the star of the show, you can be written off the show.
Right. Ashton Kutcher, $700,000 per episode.
Yeah.
Per show.
Yeah.
And then Charlie Sheen, $800,000 to $1.8 million per episode. Wow. So soul singer Isaac Hayes voiced Chef on South Park for 9 seasons, but abruptly left in 2006, citing the show's intolerance towards religious beliefs. Many believe his exit stemmed from the controversial Trapped in the Closet episode mocking Scientology, Hayes' religion. However, his son claimed that Scientology leaders wrote Hayes' resignation letter following a stroke. The showrunners responded by killing off Chef in a gruesome season 10 premiere, sparing no ridicule for his departure.
I forget how he was killed in a gruesome way. I'm sure we can Google it. Isaac Hayes did leave because of that Scientology thing. There's no question. Understandably, Matt Stone and Trey Parker were pissed off at him because they made him a star. Isaac Hayes sure singing those love songs or whatever back in the day, but hey kids, hey children, he became a star on that show. They made him millions, and 9 seasons in, Jay, or whatever it was at that time. How many other religions do you think they made fun of? South Park?
I was thinking in my mind, not only did they make fun of other religions, they made fun of everything. It's okay for you to participate in all of those things, but when they attack or have fun with your religion, now you draw the line? Seems a little hypocritical.
Well, it's absolutely hypocritical. Like, yeah, it's okay for him to make fun or be a part of a show that makes fun of all the religions, Grace reads. That's what you can say about South Park. They don't pick on anyone. They pick on everyone. No one is safe. Our religion growing up had a whole episode based on it, and life just goes on. Yeah, he left the show right after that. So what the creators did, Jay, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, because they have the rights to his work, on their final episode where they killed Chef, they pieced together dialogue from previous episodes, and they turned Chef into a pedophile.
Oh, jeez.
So I think before they killed him, I think that was part of the storyline. He ended up being revealed to be a pedophile. And so they pieced together, hey children, all that stuff was pieced together. Yeah. And he was a closeted pedophile.
Wow.
Isaac Hayes is not the Chef. So the Isaac Hayes can't say it's me. It's a character.
Right. It's a character. I'm playing a character.
You can't do dirty to those guys. The best way to handle that kind of stuff is, guess what? If you're just a celebrity, many celebrities have been made fun of. They're the ones that did the whole Team America with Matt Damon. Damon.
Yeah. You just got to roll with the joke, right? And if it's something that you find negative towards you, the last thing you want to do is bring attention to it.
Yeah.
Just let it play its course and then it disappears.
It's called the Streisand effect for a reason. We talked about that, right?
Yeah. Something about her house.
Yeah, she didn't want her house. Was back early days of Google.
Yeah.
Google took a photo of it, and she's like, my house is on Google. I don't want it there. And everyone's like, what? Why do you care about your house? And everyone looked at her house. Nobody cared about your house until you said, don't look at my house. Don't talk about not looking at your house. Nobody cared until you brought it up. Streisand effect, yeah. Right.
I'm trying to see how much he made per episode. I don't know.
Back then, it's hard to say. They sold South Park the rights to whatever for syndication. You know how much they both walked away with?
No idea.
It's $500 million each.
Huh.
They started that show with literal cardboard clip-outs animation.
Oh, yeah. I remember the early days. And Isaac Hayes is dead. He's at 65.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's dead in real life. Jay Thomas is dead in real life. Roseanne's alive. Everyone else is alive. Even Charlie Sheen, bless his heart, still alive. Yeah, Isaac Hayes is dead in real life. And the next person we're going to talk about is actually dead in real life, too. So they're both billionaires now.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's why you can't cancel South Park. They have immunity. It's weird when you get to this certain status of they get away with stuff all the time because it's almost like a different avenue where they don't apologize. Once you don't apologize, you can't be canceled because people keep showing up. It's a combination of people keep showing up Who's going to tell them you can't do what you're doing? They're doing
Well, clearly, when you are as successful as they've been, who doesn't want to be riding on your coattails? The networks, they're willing to pay them out $1 billion, 500 million each. That's a gravy train, obviously. Could you imagine paying out $1 billion to buy off the rights of South Park, knowing that you're going to make that money back and more, obviously?
It's going to be in syndication till the world dies. Yeah. All right. Next one. You've heard of Shannon Doherty? Rest in peace. She's passed away.
Yeah.
Was it this year? Is she going to make her list this year? I can't remember.
No, I think it's already been done.
We do so many. This is a good plug, Jay, for our worst of the best dead celebrities. This is going to be a big year this year. I remember we were building a list, and it's really growing. She did make the list this year, July 24. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Could you imagine us having to talk about Shannon Doherty now twice in a year?
That's
I haven't talked about her since I was a teenager, 90210, and now here we are going to talk about her twice in a year.
What a treat. Thank you, Shannon. You've given us two treats to talk about you. All right. The first treat is this. She played Pure, I don't know how to pronounce the name, Hallowell on Charmed. It is a show. Prue. Thank you. I don't know why I read it the way I did. Prue. On Charmed, what shows you I never watched the show, but I know about the show, Three Sisters that are witches or whatever. Shannon Doherty, always known for on-set drama, clashed with co-star Alyssa Milano while playing Prue Hallowell on Charmed. By the season 3 finale, tensions peaked, and Doherty quit rather than face termination. So, to her credit, she quit. Her character was ceremoniously killed off by a demon in the episode she actually directed. So they actually gave her directing duties on All Hell Breaks Loose.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's probably an amicable departure. I mean, like, I can't be here anymore. I get it. I'll leave. Let me direct my last episode at least. And it sounds like they didn't want her to go, probably. It's probably, I can see the charm. People like, don't go.
It was between her and Alyssa, not necessarily,
The fact that one of them chose, the company's probably like, fine. Saves us having to choose. You guys made the choice. So Doherty's exit marked the end of her character, but Charmed continued 5 more seasons with a new sister replacing Doherty. So there you go. The show did continue. So it didn't wreck the show necessarily. Did 8 seasons. That's pretty good runs. Shannon Doherty, it's such an odd. She had problems on 90210 as well. I hate to say it like this. I'm not her, and may she rest in peace, but talented enough to be on TV shows, get hired for TV, episodic TV. Could you just rein it in a little bit? Why be so difficult that it'd be like you just going to work, you know, where you're at your job, Jane, just start throwing things at people. Like, what are you doing? I don't understand why you're just that way to the place that gives you your life.
And it's, I don't know. I don't get it.
And she's not the first and she won't be the last, but we talked about already. Charlie Sheen was that way. In fact, your next example is almost exactly this.
Chevy Chase's time on Community ended abruptly due to his inappropriate behavior on set, including an incident where he used a racial slur during filming. NBC and Chase agreed he would leave after season 4, with Pierce Hawthorne dying off screen. Showrunner Dan Harmon later described Chase as difficult to work with, while co-star Donald Glover revealed Chase often made racially insensitive remarks during production.
Anyone that knows Chevy Chase at all, he is one of these individuals where I hate that he's such a dick. Because Josh Garnett, he is so funny. I actually truly enjoy his comedy stylings and his stylings on Community. This is also another situation where he came on set, Jason, and played himself, which was funny. And they knew it was funny, but he's a jerk. How he did it on the show with the writing, the directing, and everything else, it was amazingly funny. It was so good.
It's funny when it's fake. When it's within a fake scenario, like a TV show or a movie, when you're that way off screen.
It's just sad because, you know, now he's 80-ish, you know, it's sad that...
Is he really that old now?
Yeah. I think he's 80. Because he was so funny in Christmas Vacation, the original Vacation, Fletch, his early films. Those are funny films. But everyone that works with him kind of has the same story. And it's just like, dude, it's the Shannon Doherty effect. You don't have to be a saint. You can be a tough nut, so to speak, or you can be like a challenging person. But the fact that he was just a jerk, why are you trying to sabotage yourself? It's odd to me.
Yeah, it's almost like he's daring people.
That's what some people have said. Yeah. He and Bill Murray got into a fist fight. Bill Murray's the line where he's a bit of a, but he's pretty okay on, but he's another one. He got in fights with the Charlie Angels actresses and stuff. So Bill Murray's only a little bit better, but not by much. But Bill Murray, Bill Murray and Chevy Chase, they got into a fist fight. Chevy came back to guest co-host on Saturday Night Live. Right. And they literally threw fists with each other before they went on stage. I think one of them had a black eye or something close to it. But to their credit, they went out and performed. So Chevy, as you know, he was in the first season of Saturday Night Live, but only the first season. People forget it was only one season. He left, one, because they didn't know the show was going to become the show. To his credit, he didn't know it was going to be 50 years later, as it is now. He left to go do movies, and they were great movies. Like I said, Fletch, Spies Like Us with Dan Aykroyd. Those are fun films.
Three Amigos.
Well, some of the funniest scenes is Spies Like Us when he's trying to cheat off Dan Aykroyd's paper. His physical comedy was genius. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, speaking of which, I got to watch Christmas Vacation. It's the yearly tradition.
Yes, just yesterday, somewhere on my social feed or something, I saw an advertisement for National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I'm like, yes, another.
It makes me laugh every time. I
know.
I don't know why I always forget the jokes. Maybe because I only watch it once a year, but every year I'm like, man, this is funny.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Last one on this list, Jason, is Mandy Patinkin. You probably recognize if you saw his face. He's an actor that if you saw his face, you probably recognize him. And you probably have heard the show Criminal Minds.
Yeah.
Now, I thought he was on it longer than he was, but he left during season 3, but they killed off his character, oddly enough, 7 seasons later in season 10. It's kind of weird. Mandy Patinkin later described his time on the show as one of his biggest regrets, citing its violent themes as harmful to his mental health. He criticized the impact. I know. Is that real blood?
He's so pure.
I'm not interested in seeing the movies, the Terrifier movies. Like, it doesn't interest me, but I bet you they're a blast to film.
Mm-hmm.
To film them on set would be hilarious with the blood, the guts, the gore. How can we make this gorier? Let's get the blood here. Like, it's probably so much fun to up the level to film it. It's a blast to do. So if someone who's an actor can't look at a quote unquote dead dude, it's an actor. It's just somebody lying still. What do you?
When did that show come out? Criminal Minds,
early 2000s. It's been on for a while. Different cast. Yeah. It's like a Law and Order. Goes on forever.
Yeah, I'm just looking 2005 to 2007. He was on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and it's still going now, I think. Jeez. Yeah, 19 years it's been running. I would love to be typecast. Put me in Criminal Minds for 19 years. You get paid for 19 years. You got a job. You're retired. You're done. You can do bit work on some little films, side role films just for fun. I've always said I don't want to be a Joaquin Phoenix or Leo DiCaprio. I actually would like to be a Mandy Patinkin, where you could probably go to Starbucks. No one's going to bug you.
Yeah, this guy walking down the street, you wouldn't go.
Yeah. He probably gets to yell, hey, you're in Criminal Minds, but that's the Criminal Minds fan base. It's not like everyone in the street's going to stop you.
No.
And then to be cool, yeah, cool. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Yeah, sure, get a picture. And then you move on. Tom Cruise is too much fame. You can't go anywhere. He criticized the impact such shows have on audiences, calling them detrimental to society. His abrupt exit forced the writers to introduce a new profiler to replace him. And they did, and the show is done just fine, apparently, without him. Society, though, is getting worse, Jay, because of Criminal Minds. Maybe.
What a weird, you're overthinking your impact on the world.
Yeah.
Criminal Minds is not, people aren't watching your show and going, I'm going to copycat these things.
No.
Weird. You're not that important, dude. I had to Google to see what you look like.
Maybe if you stuck on the show, it'd still be, So there you go. Those are fun stories. I hope people enjoyed our stories, our little banter about the shows and what we know about them and don't know about them. And so let's just go through it again. So Jay Thomas on Cheers, John Rice Davis on Sliders, Roseanne Barr on Roseanne, Marcus Chong on The Matrix Reloaded, Charlie Sheen on 2.5 Men, Isaac Hayes on South Park, Shannon Doherty on Charmed, Chevy Chase on Community, and then Mandy on Criminal Minds. Boy, these are tough. Because Charlie Sheen's behavior was being Charlie Sheen, but he's fine. The outcome for him is like whatever.
Right.
Charlie Sheen's still Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
Life goes on. He's still got his millions. Life goes on. Here's my reasoning. Marcus Chong. Yeah. He's in one of the most successful trilogies box office wise. Oh, look, Matrix is a very popular.
Could have been part of.
He sabotaged himself for what? Yeah. You're an unknown actor, basically, in a huge franchise. Here's $250,000 to hang out with us again for a few months, be in the sequels, and then if you're cheerful and happy and gratitude, you probably get more work, and ironically, you might be a multimillionaire by now.
Yeah, that's my pick.
Okay.
I totally agree. I mean, he just absolutely bit the hand that feeds. Not just lost money post what could he have made over the years since then, but he lost money by fighting them. He's trying to sue Warner Brothers. So he actually went backwards.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, it's a lesson in greed, children. That's the irony here, too. There was other reasons Isaac Hayes left because of religious reasons. Okay. Shannon left because she was fighting with her co-star. That happens in the workforce. I get it. I think Marcus was really the worst because he had no reason.
Yeah,
Not only did
and he had the
reason-
most to lose.
and he did lose it. It was a gamble. It was such a weird gamble. Like, give me $1 million or nothing. Okay, nothing. And then when they gave him nothing, he went around and sued them for mistreatment. It's like, you're the one that came us with this terrorist threat. What are you doing? So he must be unhinged. I don't know who his agent was or what he's thinking. Like, if this was you doing this, I would actually talk like, Jay, what are you doing?
Well, could you imagine what he's telling people now?
I bet you could Google interviews and stuff. I'm sure he's got a story to spin.
I can completely envision. He's told himself so many lies about the interactions that he now believes those lies. You know, when you tell yourself, I didn't steal the chocolate bar, and you have the whole, like, even though you have the chocolate bar in your pocket. And
we should tell our audience there is a documentary on YouTube on his channel. It's called The Marcus Chong Story.
So he's making lemonade out of a lemon.
No, he's making a lemon out of lemonade. He had lemonade. He ruined it.
Oh, true.
He turned it back into a lemon.
He had lemonade, made it into a lemon. Now he's trying to make that lemon into lemonade.
Again. So he details his life and the issues he's faced with another actor, C. Thomas Howell, in the direct-to-video movie Pure Danger. So he's spilling the beans on this stuff. What else? So this is what happened. So May of 2003, Chong filed the lawsuit to LA Superior Court against Warner Brothers, saying Warner was in breach of a 1998 verbal agreement and a 2000 contract to continue the character of Tank in the film's 2 sequels. Chong was offered a total of $250 to appear in the Matrix. Oh, both films. Okay, so he was offered $250 to appear in both. Okay. Chong claimed he was owed twice that much. In addition to bonuses and guarantees, he would be invited to press junkets and premieres. So he really wanted to be part. He wanted to be part of the Keanu Reeves. When the Wachowskis rejected his demands, Chong was arrested in October for allegedly making threatening phone calls to filmmakers. In his suit, Chong claimed he had since been blackballed from Hollywood and blamed the Matrix creators and Warner Bros. For branding him a terrorist. Oh, I use that word myself. If there's smoke, there's fire, brother. I mean, I hate to say it. Like, reputation is all you have. It takes a lifetime to build a reputation, but one thing to ruin it, or whatever it is. Wow, this is fun, though.
He goofed. Because the other one was, I mean, Roseanne's fine. All these other people's kind of like whatevers, but his seems to be a glaring.
Some are dead. They're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, his was the worst. Yeah, because he's still alive. He's our age, give or take. And he could have had a whole career just chilling, having fun in Hollywood and making movies.
Yeah, just relax, dude.
But he wanted to be Keanu Reeves. He wanted to be part of the press junkets. He wanted to be with Keanu Reeves. And all right, well, thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us. This was a lot of fun. Remember, in front of every silver lining, there's a cloud. And today, for both, again, Jason and Ryan, we both picked the same one. Marcus Chong. Don't be a tank.